Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you all, everyone here for today's Nirvana Day service. It's such a gorgeous day outside. You know, we're really fortunate to have weather like this. I mean, I guess that's why we live here, you know, but it's wonderful to see all of you. And for today's Nirvana Day service, and any of the Dharma School students here know why we observe Nirvana Day? I know, I see some smiles there. Jaden? Your mom's laughing at you. How about Flynn? I think they're shy, but Nirvana Day is, it's generally observed on February 15th, and it's the day that we remember the passing of the historical Buddha Shakyamuni Gautama, and he passed away at the age of 80 years old. So today we observe his the memorial for Shakyamuni Buddha. Okay, we'll begin with this morning's service with a fruit and floral offering by the 9th through 12th grade class. Thank you to Paulina, Jack, Casti, and Arturo Jr. for today's fruit and floral offering. And I forgot to mention that our service today is being officiated by Reverend Smitty and assisted by our minister's assistant, Arturo Rubio. And thank you to Noriko for ringing the concho this morning. Next, we will have the chanting of the Sanbujo, which can be found on page 21 of the service book. And that will be followed by Hyobyakumon, and then sutra chanting of the Sambutsuge on page 44.
The chant Sanbujo, or three respectful callings, is done to invite Amida Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, and the Buddhas of all 10 directions to be with us as we symbolically scatter flowers to welcome their presence. Ujo San Ge San Ge San Ge Ra Please join me in Gassho. We gather here today to observe Nirvana Day, the annual memorial service for Shakyamuni Buddha, founder of Buddhism, who passed away into final nirvana on February 15th. Through this service, we express our deep gratitude and appreciation to the historical Buddha for leaving us the wonderful teachings of Buddhism, and also for enabling us to encounter the teachings of Amida Buddha's primal vow. In Shoshin-ge, Shinran Shonin expressed his deep gratitude and strong conviction to Shakyamuni Buddha with the following words: Shakyamuni Tathagata appeared in this world solely to teach the ocean-like primal vow of Amida. We, an ocean of beings in an evil age of 5 defilements, should entrust ourselves to the Tathagata's words of truth. Today, may we pay homage to Shakyamuni Buddha and express our gratitude for teaching us of the Buddha of infinite light and immeasurable life. We reaffirm our desire to hear the Buddhist teachings and our intent to live the Dharma as we follow the Nembutsu path each day. Namo Amida Butsu, Namandab, 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 Namandab. As a reminder, we'll be chanting Sanbutsuge on page 44. Kogen Gigi Ijin Mugok Nyoze Enmyo Muyo Tosha Nichigaten Mani Shuko Enyo Kai Shiten Pe Yunyaku Jumok Nyorayogen Chose Murin Shogaku Dai On Koru Jippo Kaimon Shojin Sammai Chi E Itoku Muro Shushoke Jintai Zennen Shobuten Hokai Gujin Jinno Kugo Gaitai Mumyoyokunu Seson Yomu Nino Shishi Jintoku Muryo Kukun Kodai Chi E Jinmyo Komyo Iso Shindo Daisen Ganga Sabuten Zai Shoho Kado Shoji Mifuge Daten Fuse Joi Kanin Shojin Nyoze Samai Chi E Ijo Gose Tokubuten Fugyo Shigan Isai Kuku isa dai an keshi ubun hyakusen no kuman muro dai sho shunyo goja kuyo isai shito shobun hunyo gudo kensho fugyak nyo goja shobun sekai bufukake mushu sendo komyo shisho hen shisho koknyo ze shojin ijin nanro roga sabut kokudo dai chich go shukimyo dojo chozen kokunyo nai on nimu toso gato I mean dodan isai jiporai sho shinen shoujo itogako keraku anon kobun shinmyo zega shinsho hodga no hi rikisho shoyok tripo se son chi emuge joro shi son chi ga shingyo kero shin shi shoku doku chu agyo shojin ninjufuke Sho Namandab, 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 Namandab.
Thank you. We will now have incense offering by various representatives. First, starting with the Dharma School staff, Sharon Sasaki. Dharma School student, Ayla Koga. Sangha teens, Kobe Kawahara. Junior YBA, Cassidy Mudaoka. The Abba Greg Yonakura. BWA Susan Moribe. Tycho Jaden Cruz. Representing Komon, the past presidents, Joyce Teague and Glenn Negoro. And representing the Buddhist temple, Kurt Yasuhara. Thank you all for your offerings. Next, we'll have a message for the Dharma School students from our Certified Minister's Assistant, Arturo Rubio.
Good morning, everyone. Today's Nirvana Day service commemorates the day when the Buddha achieved parinirvana, or complete nirvana, upon his death at the age of 80. Nirvana is believed to be the end of the cycle of death and rebirth, and Buddhism teaches us that nirvana is attained when all want and suffering is gone. This day is a time to think about our own future death, as well as the deaths of loved ones who have gone before us. This thought process reflects the Buddhist teaching of impermanence. Today, I'd like to talk about some of the events that took place during the last few months of Shakyamuni Buddha's life, and some of the teachings he shared with his followers up until the moment of death. And through them and subsequent generations, they have reached us in our present time. While staying near Vesali, an ancient city in northern India, the Buddha became very sick, experiencing great pain in the process. The Buddha felt that he needed more time to address his followers, in a sense, to wrap things up properly. So he endured the illness and eventually recovered. Shakyamuni Buddha was an extraordinary man, but a man nonetheless, not a god. So he experienced the same issues that are inevitable to every single human being, like sickness and old age. Now I am frail, he said to his trusted Ananda, old, aged, far gone in years. This is my 80th year, and my life is spent. Even as an old cart is held together with much difficulty, so the body of the Tathagata is kept going only with supports. This statement was followed by a phrase that you may have heard in the past, or variations of it. Therefore, Ananda, be islands unto yourselves, refuges unto yourselves, seeking no external refuge. With the Dharma as your island, the Dharma as your refuge, seeking no other refuge. This was Shakyamuni Buddha telling us to place our trust in ourselves, in the Dharma. And when he said yourselves, I think he meant yourselves individually and yourselves as a community, a Sangha. So trust yourself. Trust the Dharma, trust your Sangha. According to the Nirvana Sutra, around this time, the Buddha was visited by Mara, the evil one. Remember Mara? He was the demon who tried to intimidate, confuse, and tempt Siddhartha Gautama as he was about to become enlightened. So yes, here's Mara again, trying to cause trouble when the Buddha was near the end of his life. Mara said to the Buddha, now, O Lord, let the Blessed One come to his final passing away. Let the Happy One utterly pass away. The time has come for the parinirvana of the Lord. Mara could not wait to have the Buddha out of the picture. The Buddha responded to him, I shall not come to my final passing away, evil one, until my monks and nuns, laymen and laywomen have come to be true disciples. By this, the Buddha meant that there were still a few things he wanted to go through with his followers before he left. At this, Mara responded, and now, O Lord, monks and nuns, laymen and laywomen have become the Blessed One's disciples in just this way. So, O Lord, let the Blessed One come to his final passing away. The time has come for the parinirvana of the Lord. Mara and the Buddha went back and forth several times. Mara kept insisting. His reasoning was, hey, your followers are ready, just leave. Mara wouldn't give up. Finally, the Buddha said, do not trouble yourself, evil one. Before long, the parinirvana of the Tathagata will come about. 3 months hence, the Tathagata will utterly pass away. This was the first time the Buddha had stated specifically when he would be leaving this world. Now, thinking of the Buddha, 2,500 years later, you may be tempted to see him as some type of superhero. But try to imagine what Ananda and the rest of Shakyamuni Buddha's followers must have felt at the time, knowing that their revered teacher, this man that they had followed for so many years, was not eternal and would be gone soon. The sense of impending loss must have been terrible for them. Then the Buddha said to the monks and nuns, "So I exhort you, all things are subject to vanish. Apply yourselves with intensity. The time of the Tathagata's parinirvana is near. 3 months hence, the Tathagata will utterly pass away." The months passed, and the Buddha and his followers had moved to a place called Pava and stayed in the mango grove of Kunda, who was a blacksmith. Kunda felt very honored, stating, "The Blessed One, they say, has arrived at Pava and is staying in my mango grove." And he went to visit the Buddha, and having respectfully greeted him, sat down close to him. The Buddha shared the Dharma with Kunda, which made the latter extremely happy. Then Kunda spoke to the Buddha, saying, "May the Blessed One, O Lord, please accept my invitation for tomorrow's meal, together with a community of monks and nuns." The Buddha accepted. The next morning, Kunda had food prepared for the Buddha and his community. The Buddha and his followers arrived at Kunda's house and enjoyed the meal that had been prepared for them. Again, the Buddha shared the Dharma with Kunda, which greatly gladdened him. Shakyamuni Buddha became very sick shortly after. He spoke to Ananda, saying, "It may come to pass that someone will cause remorse to Kunda the blacksmith, saying, 'It is no gain to you, Kunda, but a loss, that it was from you that the Tathagata took his last alms meal and then came to his end.' So then, Ananda, the remorse of Kunda should be dispelled in this manner. There are 2 offerings of food which are of equal fruition, of equal outcome, exceeding in grandeur the fruition and result of any other food and other offerings of food. Which 2? The one partaken of by the Tathagata before becoming fully enlightened, and the one partaken of by the Tathagata before passing into the state of nirvana. By his deed, the worthy Kunda has accumulated merit. Thus, Ananda, the remorse of Kunda the blacksmith should be dispelled." So here Shakyamuni Buddha references the nourishment he received from a young woman right before he reached enlightenment under the Bodhi tree decades prior. To the Buddha, Kunda's meal was equally valuable and worthy of merit. Such was the compassion of the Buddha, insisting that Kunda should not be blamed for his impending death. Shortly after, Shakyamuni Buddha instructed Ananda to prepare for him a couch between 2 sala trees, with the head to the north. Then the Buddha lay down on his right side, resting one foot upon the other, and prepared for what was coming. The Nirvana Sutra states that at this time the 2 sala trees broke out in full bloom, though it was not the season of flowering. And the blossoms rained upon the body of the Tathagata, and dropped and scattered and were strewn upon it in worship of the Tathagata. Celestial flowers and heavenly sandalwood powder from the sky rained down upon the body of the Tathagata. Ananda, who was inconsolable, walked away so as not to be seen by the Buddha. Still, the Buddha heard about this, so he asked to have Ananda brought to him. Once in his presence, the Buddha spoke, "Enough, Ananda. Do not grieve, do not lament. Have I not taught from the very beginning that with all that is dear and beloved, there must be change, separation, and severance? Of that which is born, coming to being compounded and subject to decay, how can one say, may it not come to dissolution? There can be no such state of things." Then Shakyamuni Buddha went through various levels of meditation, consciousness, and perception, and shortly after passed away. Up until his last breath, Shakyamuni Buddha continued to spread the Dharma. His teachings on the importance of compassion and the inevitability of impermanence resonate with us even today. May we all celebrate and cherish the memory of this great teacher, not only today or the 15th, but every single day. Please join me in Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namandab, namandab, namandab.
Namandab, namandab.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arturo, for your message to the Dharma School and for sharing the words of the Buddha and his connections that he had with his followers in spreading the Dharma and leading up to his passing. Next, will everyone please rise for the Gatha Buddha Loves You on page 106. Thank you. Please remain standing for the recitation of three treasures that can be found on page 91. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be freed from suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of your way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves our supreme will. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of the doctrine and gain the wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become used in true accord in your life of harmony, in the spirit of brotherhood, freed from the bondages of selfishness. Even through ages of myriads of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Gasho. Namo Amidaps. Namo Amidaps. Namo Amidaps. Namandaps. Namandaps. Naman. Thank you. You may be seated. Next, I'd like to call upon Kurt Yasuhara, the president of the temple. He will be installing the cabinet for 2025 and 2026.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you for coming to this morning's service. So we had our general meeting and our elections, and I would like to ask the board to come up. So we'll just, no in particular order. Ralph Honda, Peter, oh, not Peter, sorry. Ken Muroka, Arturo Rubio, Sharon Sasaki, Katie Sumida, Bill Teague, Glenn Torrio, Michael Kinoshita, Luann Lee, Nancy Martinez, Glenn Negoro, Mike Ong, Brian Sasaki, Brian Sasaki, Greg Yonakura, Laura Yoshida, and myself. Did I get everybody? Oh, sorry, Ron Tokunaga and Bob Schultz, our two new board members. Please welcome them. There's so many of us. We're going to take a picture, right? No? Okay, we're going to install us first and then. Oh, Kimberly Cruz, I'm sorry. My list is not accurate.
Okay, thank you. Although you know this is not the biggest board in BCA. You, the newly elected officers of the Board of Directors of the Buddhist Temple of San Diego, in accepting this office, take upon yourselves certain responsibilities toward your Sangha and the temple. Are you willing to forego some of your personal desires for the common good? Are you determined to do your part during your term in office in spreading the ideals of Shin Buddhism by living it by its core values, which is a life of gratitude for the benevolence of the Buddha and the respect for the interdependence of all life? Will you provide your best effort and treat all others with respect, dignity, and fairness? Your participation in serving this group with the values of Jodo Shinshu Buddhism will enhance your life and those of your fellow members. If you take these responsibilities, please repeat the following affirmation. I take office in the Board of Directors of the Buddhist Temple of San Diego. I accept my responsibilities and affirm my aspiration to keep the teachings of the Buddha as my guide. Gasho, Namo Amida Butts, Namo Amida Butts, Namo Amida Butts, Namandab, 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 Namandab. You may turn around now and please help welcome the newly installed board members.
And as part of the change in the board, we have 3 people that are leaving the board. Peter Matsuda, if you can come up, Ellen Yamanishi, and Karen Okuhara. I don't know if everyone's here today, but I know Karen's here. In appreciation for the many years that Karen has served this temple and this board, She's not going anywhere, but she is opening up. She did open up her seat to a new member to the board. So we'd like to just express a little gratitude for the many, many things she has done and the time she has supported us as a board member. So we also, she gets a certificate and an ajuzu and a little extra flower arrangement, but we had an apron made for you for all those things that you do for us in the background that most people don't see, but they probably are so grateful for things to be done here, and so we would like to recognize you for all that. And she is still helping me in doing many things, even though she's off the board. So if we can have a round of applause for Karen. Thank you. Do you want me to continue with the... Okay. So back to appreciations. I'd like to thank Reverend Smitty for putting today's service together, and Ministerial Assistant Arturo Rubio, and Noriko for bringing the concho. Robert Yamamoto for his wonderful guitar playing at so many services and today's, and to Reverend Honda for doing the audio video. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, and Ralph, of course, who's the host of today's service.
Thank you, Kurt, and congratulations to the board of directors for the and to Smitty Sensei for the installation of the cabinet, and to congratulations to Karen. She does so much for us at the temple, and thank you for your years of service. You know, for the board of directors, I know you saw a lot of people up here for the serving on the board, but you know, there is an executive committee for the board of directors, and it's led by Kurt. And then his first vice president is Mike Ong. He's going to chair the Ways and Means Committee. And then Glenn Torrio will be the activities chair and serve as the second vice president. And then the third vice president of membership is Bill Teague. And then, of course, we have a treasurer. The treasurer will be Michael Kinoshita. And secretary will be Nancy Martinez. And, of course, the ex officio is Luann Lee. So that's your executive board for the next 2 years. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay. Next, are there any announcements? Come on up if you have any.
Hi, everyone. I'm Bill Teague. I help with the Buddhist education around here. And some years back, we were given a lovely Thai statue of a reclining Buddha. The statues it's a historical Buddha, and statues are not so common in Jodo Shinshu, but throughout the Buddhist world, you'll often find them. And what not everyone realizes is that is the historical Buddha on his deathbed scene. Calm, composed, trying to make sure that he supplies whatever last words he could give to be of use to his followers. So please drop by and pay your respects. The sutras say that his head was pointing north and he was facing west, so that's why we have the statue in the back with his head pointing north and facing west. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. So on Sunday, March 23rd, our entire Sangha and the Dharma School are invited to the Vista Buddhist Temple for our annual exchange with Vista. So on this year, they're going to be hosting us, and so everyone's invited. They did request a head count, so we have a couple ways you can RSVP just to kind of give them the head count. One is that I put up this QR code, which is outside of the Hondo as well as downstairs in the Dharma School bulletin board. And there's also a sign-up sheet in the temple office. So please go ahead and sign up if you intend to go to the Vista service that day, March 23rd. There will also be a service here at BTSD that day for those who are not able to go to Vista. So thank you.
Good morning. All right, so once again, it is time for us to start selling the Obon t-shirts. And this is the design this year. You can't see it, so I'll put a poster up in the hallway later. But basically, you should all buy it because it was designed by me. And so we will start selling these shirts. We'll start selling them starting today until April 26th. So you have a lot of time to keep your wallets open. And they're each $20. And we have sizes small, medium, large, extra large, and extra, extra large. And we will get the shirts in late May and distribute like as soon as possible after that. So if you're interested, please find a junior IBA member anytime. I know today we have myself, Paulina, Jack, and Arturo. And we'll go ahead, we'll write down your information, and it'll be good. Please keep in mind we have limited availability, so get your orders in soon. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. So we have planned our annual Dharma School camping trip. Yay. It will be May 23rd through May 26th. It's Memorial Day weekend. We will be going to Mount Laguna at Burnt Rancheria Campground. So more information will be sent out to Dharma School families later today. Thank you.
Good morning. On behalf of the Donna Group, I wanted to let you know that the temple will be again participating in the annual Interfaith Community Neighbor Helping Neighbor food drive, and this benefits the San Diego Food Bank. But this year especially, they're going to be working with the Los Angeles Food Bank to help a lot of the fire victims up there. So we will be making a collection of items. There's a list downstairs so you could check the flyers. But it's for a very worthwhile cause. If you'd like to bring donations in, that'd be great. If you'd like to make a monetary donation, that's great. We would give you a tax receipt from the San Diego Food Bank. And we'll be collecting through March 22nd. Thank you very much.
Do you want to break your sticky
You can say it loud so they could hear you. Funny girl. Say hi, my name is. We were preparing for this one, but hi, this is Junie. She's a Daisy Girl Scout. It's her troop's first year, both being alive and selling cookies. And if y'all are interested, we'll be selling cookies today. We have 9 different flavors. They're $6 for each box, except for the gluten-free. They have caramel chocolate chip gluten-free. That's $7. You could. How can you pay, Tess Junior? You could pay with. No,
cash.
You could, cash. What else?
Credit card and Venmo.
Or PayPal. And if we don't have the flavor that you want today, if you run out, we can always pick up some more and give it to you next week, if not tomorrow, sooner than that. You want to say thank you?
Thank you.
Good morning. 2 announcements from BWA. First is we are having a panko sale. You know what panko is, right? You put it on your food and then fry it, and it comes out super crispy, or put it in your air fryer. Anyway, the panko sale is a fundraiser for the FBWA
2026 conference. It's not till next year, but we are trying to raise money so that the registration will be lower for everyone. So anyway, that's going to be available next weekend. We should be getting it this week. So anyway, it's $3 a package, and it's 12 ounces, I believe. So it's like that big. So that's one thing. The other thing is there's a save the date for the English tea, which we're going to be having on the first Saturday in May. And this year's fundraiser is going to be for the temple's 100th anniversary. So please look for that. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. We have a couple of new visitors here from Tokyo. They're with the Musashino University, which teaches a lot of different things, including Jodo Shinshu Buddhism in Japan, Tokyo. And there are 4 of them. Would you like to stand up and welcome the 4 guests from Tokyo, Japan? And most of them only speak Japanese, but Noriko-sensei, if you could show them afterwards our temple, they'd like to take a little tour if you're able to do that. Thank you. Are there any other visitors here, brand new to our temple? No? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sue, for that lead-in. So if you're buying the panko and you have a great recipe and would like to share it, please get it to me. Thank you.
I think there was one other guest, I believe. I think Cassidy, your friend Abner, would you like to stand, please? Thank you for visiting today. She's Abner is I understand is Cassidy's classmate at Chula Vista High School. And then, okay, at this time, the Dharma School is excused for your classes, so please come up for Oshoko, and you can go attend your class. Thank you for your attendance this morning. While the Dharma School, they're going to their classes, I forgot to make one announcement. The Pasadena Buddhist Temple, they're still recovering from their the fires that affected them nearly 2 months ago. The Eaton fires, and through our temple Sangha support, we were able to donate gift cards to the temple, and we continue to receive donations, monetary donations for Pasadena, and those were specifically earmarked for the to purchase more gift cards for the fire victims up in that area. And so this past week, Avis Brevin and I, we had visited Reverend and Mrs. Gibbs at Pasadena, and we presented them with another envelope of gift cards. So through this, our Sangh's generosity, we've donated a little bit over $5,000 worth of gift cards to the Pasadena Temple. And Reverend and Mrs. Gibbs, they were very gracious in accepting the gift cards, because it's a need that is really immediate, especially for the families who lost their homes and those who were really affected by the fire. So thank you to everyone who continue to donate toward that cause. Okay, the service will now continue with the reading of the Vandana and Tisarana, found on page 96.
Please join me in chanting all the lines, including the ones that are marked just for the leader. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Homage to him, the exalted one, the enlightened one, the supremely awakened one. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Namo Kie Butsu. Namo Kie Ho. Namo Kie So. Gasho. Namandab, 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 namandab.
And now Reverend Smitty will present her Dharma message.
Good morning. Among other things, thank you for indulging me and letting us sing Buddha Loves You earlier. Thank you very much, Robert. I don't get to sing that very often during the services I do, so I thought that Nirvana Day might be a good day to remind us that Buddha loves us. And I think we had a lot of good fish out there, so thank you for working very hard on that particular line. Of course, you know by now that today we're observing Nirvana Day, the memorial of the death of Shakyamuni Buddha some 2,500 years ago. And as we honor the historical Buddha with this service, please join me in Gassho as I read from one of Renyo Shonin's epistles. In silently contemplating the transient nature of our existence, Nothing is more fragile and fleeting in this world than the life of a person. Thus, we have not heard of human life lasting for 10,000 years. Life swiftly passes, and few among us can maintain this form for even 100 years. Whether I go before others or others go before me, whether it be today or whether it be tomorrow, who is to know? Those who leave before us are as countless and fragile as the drops of dew. Though in the morning we may have radiant health, in the evening we may be turned into white ashes. Namo Amida Butsu, Namandab, 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 Namandab. You might recognize that passage as the opening lines of Renyo Shonin's Letter on White Ashes, and this particular translation is by Reverend Taitetsu Uno. And it's something that we usually read at funerals and memorial services. And since today is, after all, a memorial for Shakyamuni Buddha, this Nirvana Day service is like most other memorial services. It's meant to honor and remember the life of the one who has departed this realm of existence. But it also serves as a reminder to us about the truth of impermanence. Now, there's some overlap between my talk and Arturo's talk, so I'll give you a choice. We can either do what we do with the kids, where I give you a quiz to see if you've been listening today, or I can just share the talk with you. How many of you would like to do a quiz? Oh, come on. All right, thank you, Roger. How many of you would like me to just share my message, even if you might hear some things repeated? Okay, all right. Jodo Shinshu is said to be the easy path in Buddhism. So I guess you're all trying to take the easy path through this Dharma talk right now. So I'll accept that. So as we've noted, in Mahayana Buddhism, we observe February 15th as Nirvana Day, and that's the date on which Shakyamuni Buddha was said to have died or passed into what we call parinirvana. And much has been written about the death of the Buddha, and some point to the essential information surrounding the Buddha's death as it's written in their Nirvana Sutra. And by the way, we use this term parinirvana in the case of Shakyamuni Buddha to distinguish it from the enlightenment or the nirvana that he reached at the age of 35. You might recall that the Buddha was awakened under the Bodhi tree and then taught for 45 years before passing from this life at 80 years of age. So parinirvana refers to the final nirvana of one who has attained awakening already in this lifetime. And parinirvana means pure nirvana, or nirvana without remainder or residue. That is, enlightenment without the limitations of the human body. And of course, the term nirvana is not referring to a grunge rock band led by Kurt Cobain in the late 80s and 90s. You might remember some of their music. Nirvana is also not some blissful place or a heaven that we go to. Nirvana is the cessation of suffering. It literally translates as blowing out or extinguishing. It's the blowing out of the flames of our blind passions, the cessation of our cravings and attachments, and the extinguishing of our ignorant, foolish self. And nirvana can be described in sort of a negative manner or a positive manner. In the negative sense, it's the extinguishing of ignorance, of desire, of illusion, of greed and hatred. In the positive sense, it's called a refuge or a release, a liberation, or a freedom that we find. But let's get back to the story or the legend of the Buddha's passing from this life. When he was 80 years old, the Buddha told his close followers that he wished to return to his homeland. Because, of course, he had been wandering all around teaching in many places. So it was time he felt that he needed to go back to where he came from. And the Buddha's mind was still very sharp at this time, but his body was weak and tired. And when he rested in the small town of Vasali, he was approached by one of his oldest and closest disciples, Ananda. And Ananda wanted the Buddha to give directions as to who would be the next teacher and what the essence of the teaching was all about. The Buddha was a bit agitated by this kind of questioning, and he said to Ananda, "I taught you everything. What more do you expect from me? I set forth the Dharma without holding anything back. I don't have the closed fist of some teachers who keep certain information only for themselves. I've told you everything that I know." And Shakyamuni Buddha told his gathered disciples that everything you need to know is within you, not outside of you. Let the Dharma be your guide and your lamp. And after recovering a bit, the Buddha and his disciples continued on his journey homeward. He and his followers made it to the town of Pava, where again the Buddha stopped to rest. And again Ananda approached the Buddha and pleaded with him not to die. Ananda said he was still learning and he'd be lost without his teacher. And the Buddha told Ananda not to grieve and not to lament. All beings that come into existence will pass away eventually. So how could the Buddha not die? And at this point in life, Shakyamuni Buddha traveled with many followers wherever he went. And it's said to be around 500 monks and nuns who went with him. It's quite a large crowd that would travel. And as they traveled, they would receive offerings of food and drink from the local people. And it was here at Pava where the Buddha was said to have eaten some tainted food offered by a blacksmith named Chunda. And some say it was pork, and others say it was bad mushrooms. I'm not so sure that the specific food is of great importance to us. In fact, there's some modern scholars, doctors, and researchers that suggest that Gautama Buddha might have died from an ailment other than food poisoning. You know, he was, after all, 80 years old, and that was well beyond the average lifespan of his time. Also, the Buddha possibly knew the food was bad, for it said that he wouldn't let anyone else eat that same food during the offering. And in order that Chanda not feel responsible for the Buddha's illness and impending death, Shakyamuni had his disciples bring Chanda to him in order to thank Chanda for his offering. And he assured the blacksmith of the great merit that he had earned by providing this final meal to the Buddha. And knowing that he was now gravely ill, the Buddha decided to continue on immediately, yet painfully, to Kusinagara, which was a little more than 6 miles away. And this was the place he knew he was going to die. So after this torturous trek, and in fact, I can't even imagine being in pain like that and having to walk with a crowd of people the distance of a mile, let alone 6 miles. But he gritted through it, and Shakyamuni and his followers reached this grove of sala trees just outside of the town, where he directed Ananda to prepare a place to lie down beneath 2 of the largest sala trees, where his head pointed to the north and his face would look to the west, and is it said to be Amida Buddha's Pure Land. After a little while, Ananda wandered off alone. He was sort of feeling sorry for himself, wondering how his teacher could abandon him, and he started to cry. But, of course, the Buddha noticed that Ananda was absent and sent for him. And the Buddha gently admonished Ananda, telling him not to feel sorrow and to stop his sobbing. He had already explained that death was inevitable, that everything born must also die. Life is always changing, and no one, not even he, could escape this reality of death. But I think Ananda was responding to the Buddha's impending death as many of us do when we're faced with the imminent death of a loved one. I mean, we know this is something that we have to accept, but at the same time, we feel a great pain and a great sorrow, just as Ananda was expressing at this time. So again, the Buddha told the gathered disciples who were concerned about who would continue as their teacher, that they had within themselves all that they needed. His final teaching to them was, make of yourself a light. Rely upon yourself. Do not depend on anyone else. Make my teachings your lamp. The Dharma is your guide. And with these words, or a similar sentiment to that, Shakyamuni Buddha died. So Nirvana Day is a reminder that each of us will die at some point, just as Shakyamuni Buddha died. But we don't know when our life will end. As Renyo Shonin wrote, whether it be today or whether it be tomorrow, who is to know? You know, I could get hit by a truck while crossing the street, or perhaps die of a heart attack at any place or any time. Our lives are finite, and death is this ultimate lesson of impermanence. It's the biggest way that we are shown of that impermanence happens. Change comes to us all. But impermanence isn't always an easy concept to accept. To many of us, change is uncomfortable, change is unsettling, but change is unavoidable. And Nirvana Day is a reminder of this inescapable change which occurs as we pass from life to death, going from this shore to the other shore. And it's that inescapable change which gives actual meaning to our lives. If we look deeply into impermanence, into this ultimate change that is death, and if we accept this truth, we would endeavor to live our lives more fully. We would treasure this limited time that we have with our loved ones, our family, our friends, our Sangha members, our neighbors, even our pets. We would express our gratitude for each day and be thankful for each moment and respond with Namo Amida Butsu, I take refuge in infinite wisdom and compassion. We would express our deep gratitude and appreciation to Shakyamuni Buddha for leaving us the lamp of his teachings. We would proclaim our gratitude for encountering Amida Buddha's primal vow and join Shinran Shonin in saying that we take refuge in the Tathagata of immeasurable life, and we entrust ourselves to the Buddha of inconceivable light. I think you're probably happy that you chose not to take the quiz. But I hope that that message of Nirvana Day, that we are honoring Shakyamuni Buddha, but we're also reminding ourselves of how precious this life is that we have. And we really should live it to the fullest every day, every moment. So please join me again in Gasho as we express our deepest gratitude. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namandab, 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 Namandab.
Thank you, Smitty Sensei, for your heartfelt message on Nirvana Day and why we are observing the memorial for Shakyamuni Buddha. Okay, will everyone please rise for the Gatha Ondok-san? It is found on page 126 of the service book. And please remain standing for a closing meditation. Yes, closing meditation. If one walks looking far ahead and pays no attention to the ground beneath, he will stumble. If one gazes critically upon others and forgets to look into himself, he will bring tragedy upon himself. The words of Renyo Shonin. Kasho, Namo Amitabs, Namo Amitabs, Namo Amitabs, Namo Amitabs. Thank you. You may be seated. Well, this concludes our Nirvana Day service for 2025. Thank you for your attendance today, and thank you to everyone for participating and those who took part in setting up today's service. Everyone is welcome to join in hospitality down in the dining room after the service, and you're welcome to burn incense as you leave. So again, thank you, and enjoy the weather today. Thank you very much for attending.